While Pakistan faces a crisis of legitimacy abroad, it's facing a security crisis, stability crisis within its borders. This map, viewers, shows the three hotbeds of Pakistan's internal turmoil, the divisions that are playing out in Pakistan. And we're going to put that out for you. The fault lines that exist in Pakistan. Let's put out that map that tells exactly where those hotbeds exist of growing dissonance in Pakistani population as far as why they don't trust their government, why they don't trust the predominantly Punjabi army. One is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. That, of course, is a region that is dominated by Imran Khan's party. The other, Balochistan, the largest province of Pakistan, most unhappy, most poor, and one that there is greatest exploitation. Sindh, right at the bottom, case where there have been repeated and maximum number of conversions against minorities. So these are the three areas in Pakistan where instability has been at the highest, has been growing louder and louder than ever before, bringing fresh trouble for Islamabad. First in Sindh, amidst the growing hostilities between India and Pakistan, clashes broke out in Sindh over Pakistani government's controversial canal projects. Then there was Balochistan, which saw suicide car bombings targeting military schools, one after the other, all addressing and coming back to the fact that there is an army in Pakistan which is predominantly Punjabi, and that is taking on these provinces, whether it's Balochistan or Sindh or even Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Pakistani security forces killed 9 terrorists in 3 separate operations. This year alone, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has reportedly seen nearly 300 attacks. Just how sharp are these divisions? And just how much Pakistan is at risk of these internal divisions and fractures coming out at the fore and affecting the country's sovereignty? This report tells you.
A government official's home set on fire, angry mobs choking the streets as hundreds of protesters clash with police. Lawlessness is spreading in Pakistan, primarily in its historically most restive regions, the southern provinces of Sindh and Balochistan. In Sindh, angry mobs vandalized and torched the house of Home Minister Ziaul Hasan Lanjar as the province became a battleground between the police and workers of the Sindhi Sabha Nationalist Party. At least 2 protesters were killed in the violence as protesters blocked highways while others looted trucks and even torched oil tankers, paralyzing parts of the province for days. Sindhi nationalists have long been imposing a controversial government-led canal project and commercial farming projects in the region, fearing it will worsen the water shortage in Sindh, diverting water to Punjab to support military-backed agribusiness. Further west, Balochistan, Pakistan's largest but least developed province, has faced insurgency for decades, with demands for independence met with decades of brutal military crackdown. Last week, a suicide car bombing targeted a military school bus in Kuzdar, killing several children and army personnel, with the Balochistan Liberation Army claiming responsibility. Amid the ongoing tensions between India and Pakistan, Balochistan's call for independence are now not only growing louder, but also younger and spreading beyond Balochistan into major cities across Pakistan. In Sindh and Balochistan, lawlessness is not just about crime, but reflects a deeper trust deficit between the military establishment that de facto rules Pakistan and the people, rooted in decades of exploitation, ethnic tension, and political neglect. While Asim Munir tightens its grip on Pakistan as Field Marshal, violence flares across the country. Islamabad finds itself facing more than just unrest, but a crisis of legitimacy. Now, not just internationally, but also at home. A crisis that could test the fabric of Pakistan. With Disha Bakchi, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
So the Power Play segment on fault lines tells you what exactly are each of the power factions saying and why this could actually be a crisis of sovereignty for Pakistan. Let's put out some of those graphics that tell you the operation hereof that is underway by Balochi Liberation Army, and why it is such a cause of concern for for the Pakistani security establishment. First up, the Operation Herof has seen the number of cases that have come in, the number of attacks that they have made. We put that out in terms of 78 attacks on 58 locations. This is 2.0, which means it has just started about a couple of weeks back. Some of them have been absolutely audacious attacks that have taken place on the security establishment, raising concerns that at this stage it is almost difficult for given the fact that military posts and security infrastructure have been targeted, it's almost difficult, if not impossible, for the government, the administration, the security establishment to respond to the scale at which they are being attacked. Balochistan fighters have taken control. They took control of the highway at the Orda Cross in one of the key areas. These are very important strategic locations and visible areas where they want to be seen. These Balochi National Liberation Army and several others, they want to be seen and may ensure that these attacks are visible for the world to know how they are resisting Pakistan and the Pakistani army and the garrison state that it has become in the last 50 years. Let's take out some of the other cases. Now let's talk about why are we addressing this now? Well, there is a new man in town who's now the chief, the Field Marshal. He's now the second Field Marshal in Pakistan, Asim Munir. And we are asking, is he going to unite or further divide Pakistan? Why are we saying that? Well, because Imran Khan has said that he's actually should have been called and should have been given the title of king. And in fact, his vision, Asim Munir's vision is that of a hard state. He wants it to be like a proper military state, something that Pakistan has often on been in because, it's not ever been a proper fully democratic institution. It has always been controlled by the army in the past as well. Whether you take Ayub Khan, Yahya Khan, Zia-ul Haq, all have had varied degrees of what kind of a garrison state should they be. But Asim Munir, being the second Field Marshal in Pakistan, the first in 60 years, he would want his legacy to probably be much bigger than several other of the previous generals, which is why we asked that he has said that he's going to crack down on Balochistan. How will that play out? Will that impact the sovereignty of Pakistan going forward? Because we just played out the instances of Balochistan fighters, the attacks that have only increased, and how those visible attacks are a direct confrontation with the Pakistani security establishment. These are some of the specific attacks that have taken place, railway station being one of the most visible ones that have taken place, along with several others. It has been going on for the last 1 year very regularly. These attacks are taking place, and of course the train hijacking being one of the most prominent ones. Let's get it, Shivarud, my colleague, to talk to us about what this means, given the fact, Shiv, we are talking at a time when Asim Munir is of course now the Field Marshal in Pakistan, the second only in 60 years. He wants to prove a point. He probably has a bigger vision of a garrison state than maybe even Zia-ul Haq. How do you see that panning out in terms of clampdown on Balochistan and also the Sindh attacks that have been coming to fore more regularly in the last couple of months, last couple of weeks?
Well, Gaurie, given that, and I'm going to continue to address him as General Asim Munir because the Field Marshal is smoke and mirrors for the moment. It's a self-imposed promotion on the back of a huge combat humiliation at the hands of India. So General Asim Munir is the kind of person whose legacy for the moment is Operation Sindoor, huge number of military setbacks, a ceasefire, negotiated on India's terms. And since you mentioned Balochistan and the idea of a garrison state, just before the Pahalgam attack, Asim Munir's entire legacy was a historic defensive posture of the Pakistan army at the hands of Baloch separatists and militants. The fact is, as we speak, I have counted at least 11 separate attacks, including the train attack, by Baloch separatists on the Pakistan army. They are having their way. This is, of course, a very serious business, but the insurgency and separatism in Balochistan has organized itself into the kind of threat to Pakistan that has meant that Pakistan has needed to commit an inordinate, possibly even historic number of resources towards just that one province, taking military resources away from other priorities, including what's happening. Let's not forget Peshawar, KPK, even the line of control, and therefore. Asim Munir, if he wants to crack down on Balochistan, the question now is moving from that terribly defensive posture where the Balochi separatists are simply having their way with Pakistan Army soldiers and officers into a more offensive posture. If that does happen, and let's remember, Gaurie, it has happened before, it's going to be a lot of bloodshed. It's going to involve a huge number of more boots on the ground. It's going to involve a great deal of instability. Remember, not very far from the Indian border as well, and India will be watching.
Absolutely, Shiv. Thanks much for giving us that insight into how things are likely to unfold in Pakistan with Asim Munir at the helm and the instability that we are talking. Well, viewers, as far as the seeds of separation are concerned, they are not new. In fact, both Sindh and Balochistan never wanted to be part of Pakistan. In fact, Balochis had written when the partition was taking place that they wanted to be a part of India, but it was Jinnah who took the entire region, almost annexed it in March 1948 at gunpoint. And since then, Balochistan remains the least developed part of Pakistan, even though it accounts for the maximum resources and the largest landmass. The Chinese projects mostly pass through this region, adding to the worry amongst locals that the predominantly Punjabi Pakistani army will further exploit the region. Now, Sindh is the second key province where clamour for independence is growing louder, of course, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa being the other. This is the region with one of the highest cases of atrocities against minorities. A 2022 US State Department report said widespread cases of extrajudicial killings and recovery of mutilated bodies have happened across Sindh. These divisions, these fault lines are the cause of Pakistan's continued instability. Asim Munir's appointment will become a catalyst to worsen the friction and fault lines in Pakistan. Why? He will need to ensure and deploy more resources here, whether it is in terms of funds, whether it's in terms of weapons, whether it's in terms of boots on ground. It will take away resources from some of the other priorities of Pakistan, which is already struggling and its army already on the back foot. As for India, it needs to be prepared for both the unrest that will lead to and raise national security concerns on our borders, and even raise a concern as far as a humanitarian disaster that may unfold on the border that we need to be very watchful of.